Have you ever wondered where the concept of democracy, which guides so many of our societies today, originated from? Let's take a journey back in time, to an era that marked the dawn of civilization as we know it, the epic of ancient Greece. Nestled in the cradle of the Mediterranean, this civilization was a confluence of vibrant cultures, groundbreaking innovations, and revolutionary ideas. The society was structured meticulously, with each stratum playing a vital role in the functioning of the city-states, a term that refers to independent cities and their surrounding territories. Among these city-states, Athens emerged as a beacon of intellectual prowess and democratic governance. Now, you might be wondering what made Athens the cradle of democracy. Well, democracy, as we understand it today, was a radical concept in the ancient world. Athens was the first to adopt this system of government where every citizen had a say in the decisions that would shape their society. Democracy, derived from the Greek words demos, meaning people, and kratos, meaning power, was a revolutionary system that placed power in the hands of the citizens. In the bustling agora of Athens, citizens would gather to debate and vote on important matters. From deciding on laws to electing leaders, the citizens of Athens actively participated in the decision-making process. This was a stark contrast to the autocratic regimes that dominated most of the ancient world. Although not perfect by modern standards, as not everyone was considered a citizen, with women, slaves, and foreigners being excluded, Athenian democracy was a significant leap towards the democratic ideals we uphold today. It was a system that encouraged public participation and valued the voice of its citizens. In the annals of history, Athens stands tall as a testament to humanity's quest for equality and justice. It was here that democracy, the system of government that champions the voice of the people, took its first breath. As we can see, the roots of modern democracy are deeply entrenched in the city-states of ancient Greece, specifically Athens. It's fascinating to see how the seeds sown in the past continue to shape our present societies. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this captivating era in our next segment. But how did this unique form of governance evolve and flourish in ancient Greece? Let's take a trip back to the 5th century BCE, to a time known as the Golden Age of Athens, under the leadership of a statesman named Pericles. In this era, Athens was a bustling hub of innovation and intellectual pursuit. Politics were not a separate domain for the elite, but an integral part of life for every citizen. Each man had a voice and a role in the decisions of the state. This was the essence of Athenian democracy, a system where power was vested in the hands of the people. The heart of this democratic process was the assembly, or ecclesia. This was a gathering where every male citizen, regardless of wealth or status, could speak and vote on issues ranging from laws to foreign policy. It was here that the concept of majority rule, a cornerstone of modern democracies, was born. Under Pericles, Athens also saw an explosion of culture and knowledge. The arts and philosophy flourished, with great minds such as Socrates, Sophocles, and Euripides contributing to a period of intellectual and creative abundance. This cultural efflorescence was not separate from politics but intertwined with it, as democratic ideals permeated all aspects of life in Athens. Yet democracy in ancient Greece was not without its imperfections. Not everyone had the right to participate. Women, slaves, and foreigners were excluded. And while every citizen had a voice, it was often those with the gift of rhetoric who dominated the assembly. Despite these flaws, the democratic institutions and practices of Athens laid the groundwork for many of the principles we hold dear today. The Golden Age of Athens was a time of experimentation and progress, an era where the seeds of democracy were sown and nurtured. It was a time when the citizens of Athens dared to imagine a government where power was shared, not hoarded, and where the collective wisdom of the people could guide the destiny of the state. In this Golden Age, the Athenian democracy evolved into a system that, in many ways, still resonates with our societies today. Did you know that some of the world's most renowned philosophers lived during this period in Greece, and their thoughts still influence us today? It's hard to imagine ancient Greece without picturing the three pillars of wisdom: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. These intellectual giants not only shaped the way we think but also left a profound impact on the concept of democracy. Socrates, the oldest of the three, was known for his Socratic method, a form of argumentative dialogue to stimulate critical thinking and illuminate ideas. His views on democracy were somewhat skeptical. He believed that not everyone was fit to vote, as he feared the power of the uninformed masses could lead to poor decision-making. Next we have Plato, who was a student of Socrates. He shared his mentor's skepticism about democracy. In his work, The Republic, he proposed the idea of philosopher kings, those with the greatest wisdom and understanding should rule, not just anyone who could garner votes. Despite this, his work laid the groundwork for political philosophy and has been instrumental in the development of democratic ideals. And finally, there's Aristotle, a student of Plato. Instead of outright rejecting democracy like his predecessors, Aristotle took a more balanced approach. He acknowledged the flaws in democracy, but also saw its potential. In his work, Politics, he introduced the concept of constitutional government, a mix of democracy and oligarchy where the power is divided and balanced. This idea is a cornerstone of many modern democracies. These philosophers' thoughts have transcended time, and their insights into democracy and society remain relevant even in today's world. They remind us that democracy is not just about casting a vote, but about informed decision-making, the pursuit of wisdom, and the balance of power. Their views continue to shape our understanding of democracy, proving that the philosophers of ancient Greece are still very much alive in the democratic principles we hold dear today. But as with all great civilizations, the democratic city-state of Athens also saw its downfall. So, what happened? You see, the democracy of Athens was not as perfect as one might think. It was plagued with internal issues, such as political corruption and social inequality. The wealthy elites, known as the oligarchs, were often at odds with the common people. This internal turmoil weakened the city-state, making it vulnerable to external threats. One such threat was the Peloponnesian War, a conflict that raged for 27 years. This war was not just a battle of armies, but a clash of ideologies. Athens, the beacon of democracy, was pitted against Sparta, a military oligarchy. The war led to severe economic and social upheaval in Athens. The democracy that had so vibrantly flourished began to crumble under the strain. In the end, Sparta emerged victorious, and the age of Athenian democracy came to a somber close. But this was not the end of the story. As the saying goes, ideas are bulletproof. And the ideas of democracy and philosophy that originated in Greece were no exception. Even as the Athenian city-state fell, its influence spread far and wide. The Romans, who eventually conquered Greece, were deeply influenced by Greek democratic ideals and philosophy. They incorporated these principles into their own government, creating a unique blend of republic and democracy. The Roman Empire, in turn, spread these ideas throughout Europe. Centuries later, the founding fathers of the United States, inspired by the democratic ideals of ancient Greece and the republicanism of Rome, framed their own constitution. The echoes of the Greek agora can be heard in the town halls and parliaments of today's democracies. So, while the city-state of Athens may have fallen, its legacy endured. The principles of democracy and philosophy it championed continue to shape our world, from the way we govern ourselves to the way we think about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Even in its downfall, the legacy of Greek democracy and philosophy continued to shape civilizations. As we look around our world today, how much of our modern democratic systems can we trace back to ancient Greece? What we might not realize is that many of the core principles that underpin our contemporary democracies have their roots firmly planted in ancient Athenian soil. The concept of democracy, or rule by the people, was birthed in the city-state of Athens, where every citizen had the right to participate in decision-making processes. Today, this principle is echoed in the voting rights we hold dear, allowing us to shape the direction of our nations. Furthermore, the Athenians introduced a system of checks and balances, a mechanism designed to prevent the concentration of power in the hands of a few. This concept has been adopted and refined by modern democracies, ensuring the separation of powers among different branches of government. But the influence of ancient Greece on modern democracy extends beyond institutional structures. It permeates the very philosophy of governance. The Greek philosophers, with their intellectual rigor and thirst for knowledge, laid the groundwork for critical thinking, a cornerstone of democratic societies. Socrates, for instance, championed the idea of questioning authority and seeking truth, a sentiment echoed in our modern appreciation for transparency and accountability in governance. His student Plato warned against the dangers of tyranny and proposed a society governed by philosopher kings, a thought that, while not directly applied, has influenced our understanding of the role of wisdom and virtue in leadership. Finally, we come to Aristotle, who advocated for a polity, a mixed government that balances the interests of all citizens, rich and poor alike. This notion resonates with our contemporary pursuit of social justice and equality. Despite the vast stretches of time and space between us and the ancient Athenians, the echoes of their innovative ideas persist in our understanding of democracy and governance. They serve as a testament to the enduring influence of ancient Greece on our modern world. As we've journeyed through time, it's clear that the heart of modern democracy still beats with the rhythms of ancient Greece.